I almost got you one of those.
Man, penguin's not right without having it. Man.
I started looking for all kinds of stuff. I was like, man, like let's escalate this. But then I'm like, I forgot to even create the stream until a few hours ago. So
Well,
we
that's
are
why I
what?
texted you yesterday. That's why I wrote you yesterday. It was just like,
Yep,
we're still good for Thursday, right? Okay, cool. No pressure. Just want to check.
yeah. I completely just bonked out. It's been a weird week. Like I said, well, as I've been doing, we're live already. So
Hi, everyone.
yeah, hey everybody, how's it going? Yeah, no, it's I can't believe I forgot that. I've been there's been a lot going on, but like it's been an all right week. But for everybody out there in YouTube land, I recorded a new video. After doing the big Jeremy Saulnier video, I
Mm-hmm.
I did what I thought was the final video in the series of the Discord requests, and I did Fantastic Mr. Fox finally, which is
Yeah.
like so different from like
Yeah.
Murder Party, Blue Ruin, Green Room, Fantastic Mr. Fox. So I recorded a nice long video for that, but forgot that I hadn't discussed Boonraku. It's a movie that somebody requested, and I couldn't find anywhere. Except for I think I could pick up like some DVDs or something on eBay. And so I've still got one more to go. So it's on YouTube for like $2.99 or $3.99, but nowhere else
Right.
for some damn reason.
Well, I mean, that's a perfect because I actually did want to comment back on your Jeremy Saladier, which you did for me, and your opening was all very gracious and kind and really, really touched me. Um, but I started listening to it and I was getting so caught up, I realized I haven't seen these movies. So I'm only like half getting the review and stuff that you're doing. Anyway, long story short, because of getting through even just the first chunk of your review, I went and I found both Murder Party and Blue Ruin are free on Amazon Prime right now.
Yep.
So threw that on last night. My wife was like, hey, we'll check it out and see if it's too much for me, because Green Room's definitely going to be more than she's going to want to watch. But Murder Party is just it's a bit of a slow burn, but it's funny. The character stuff is great. I love the Evil Dead reference in the beginning when he's putting his costume together, which is that's like all independent filmmakers have to do an homage to that scene. But yeah, so anyway, long story short, I'm 3/4 through Murder Party right now. We're gonna finish it up tonight, and then I've got Blue Ruin next. So I haven't finished going through your review yet, but it has inspired me to watch these films so that I can get the most out of your discussion. So,
Yeah, cool.
bravo.
Oh, well, thank you. I'm glad that because somebody else did too. They were like they went back and watched Murder Party. They'd never seen it, and they were like blown away. It was like this is actually like like it's pretty wild. I like it a lot for what it is.
For a little independent film where again, we've
Oh
got
yeah,
2 locations and we're just going to shoot the crowd outside and have them sign releases or not. It was, it's a beautiful, perfect little early film. This is how you do an indie film. It's all character. You get 1 or 2 locations and you go to town, and it's awesome.
yeah. Well, for everybody that's watching us for something else, as we're going on and on about, but this
Yeah,
is
through
how it
these
goes
first
on my
5
channel.
minutes. Yeah, we'll get to Penguin.
We this is how it goes on my channel. We talk about stuff, and we get there. It's a journey, it's conversation. And like always though, I mean, I got to bring up you've watched Agatha, the 7th
Yeah.
episode of Agatha. Actually,
I
really
watched this
liked
one.
this episode. I actually really liked this chunk of the movie. Because honestly, again, they're not fooling me. One of the things I've learned, and I don't know if I've said this before, but like I probably said it last week, was when you start editing your own videos and you start doing things with the videos and blah blah blah, you figure out all kinds of tricks when you're watching TV
Oh
or a
yeah.
movie. I catch so many more editing mistakes than I've ever done in my life. And you can tell when things are still cut up a certain way to just, it's still a movie. But I really liked this newest episode, probably because of the focus on one character for most of it. Um, so I dug this one, even though I don't know if I also said this, but did I also say that Aubrey Plaza might be death?
I believe you did.
I don't know if they're trying to say she's death, but she's death yet so far. I don't know what you thought of this episode.
Honestly, I had a good time. You're right. It was great that it was focused. Look, and anytime you get any timey-wimey stuff, that's like crack to me.
Yeah,
I love when you can get a good story, and especially again, you get to see like, oh, these odd moments all do link up in this sequence when she's replying in this
yeah,
stuff, which is clever.
yeah. It was
It's
like the
clever.
most clever they were all season.
It's well done. She of course is a legend and amazing. So to be able to focus on the one is kind of like a life and death, arc here. That was great. Um, but like I said, to me, this
Mhm.
is and a well done Disney Channel Halloween special.
Yeah,
And the setup and interplay, the kind of light back and forth between Billy and Agatha is just kind of like
yep,
you're jabbing, you're jiving, you're being clever, but none of this feels really real to anything. I still don't necessarily have main characters or what motivations are. I also just personally have a problem with like, God damn it, Billy Mac, can we just leave the Maximoffs alone and delve into the vastness of the Marvel universe? There's a lot of characters there that we could play with.
yeah,
And we're still doing Billy Maximoff. I mean,
yeah.
again, it's well done. I was emotional
Well,
watching it,
it's
but
just that like when we talk about that one part of the story, it's great. But as soon as they pull us into the main story, it just goes right back to
yeah,
the Halloween special. Like there was a good episode of TV happening around this. Like you know how they cut away in like holiday specials. Like now it's time to do this. What if the thing you cut away to is better than the actual show? And that's what it felt like here. Is like they really knew what they were doing for part of this, at least to like connect everything and do it in an interesting way. But the
uh,
rest of it, yeah. The rest of it, yeah. And Billy and all this, it's just well, oh, okay, explain this. Okay. Are they saying that Billy acts like a more like a grown up because he's in the body of this kid? Because to me, Billy would still be a little boy and he wouldn't be talking like and acting like he's a much older kid.
they do a weird crossover bit with since Billy jumps over in basically in his bar mitzvah, and then they jump 3 years later, and then he's
Oh, that's
I'm
right.
16.
That's
So
right.
we assume around 13, and yeah, where the Maximals were when the cube fell, that looks about they were about that
Still,
age, I guess. Maybe a little younger, but between the whatever of the magics and then the 3 years of living in this world, they're effectively, putting him in the right size body, except, you know, it's overstretching it a little bit.
yeah.
But I think that
Okay.
they had to do that to try and get some things make sense. But then even as, he doesn't feel like he's 16.
No.
in any way, shape, or form. So, yeah,
I don't know.
they're just trying to say, hey, we want to get an older actor to do all of this stuff in scenes that we can't have a kid doing. So we're going to blah, 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 blah.
Yeah. Shut up.
A
It's comic book.
justification. Yeah.
Okay.
What's it if it was pitch meeting? It's like, hey, shut up. Okay, so
Hey, shut up.
Sorry, I refer to pitch meetings a lot now. I'm a sucker, but Ryan George is great. Anyway.
Well, okay, then Vox Machina's third season has come to a close. I'm not going to spoil it for you because I don't think you've watched the end of it, but
no, I'm way behind. I'm way behind on that. But go ahead and say anything because
I'll just say that, like, again, they've made a bunch of changes, and honestly, I like everything that they're doing, and like I've said before, I like the direction that they're going to go in. I think that they are constantly trying to surprise us, and they went a long way to get to kind of like what we expected to happen, but there's a lot of really unexpected things that happen, and I really liked basically all of it. And even though I was trying to think in my head, like, this isn't how you plot out a season. Like, the end should be here, and then you've decided to just go on further. But what I remembered is with Critical Role, there's never an end. There's just more adventure.
sure.
And things at the table don't go the way you want. Exactly. Plans never go the way you want. And honestly, I think that the way that they played this season and how they finished it up, still knowing that there's more to come, really was a fantastic show. But again, my problem is we're not going to be talking about this in a month. It's going to be poof, gone.
Yeah, I really wish they stretched it out as opposed to 3 episodes a week.
I noticed when I went on the Beacon Discord for Critical Role, I just typed in, hey, what do you think the chances that Amazon will maybe do 2 episodes a week so that maybe we could enjoy it for longer? And it was like right away comment about like them's fighting words, like they just want it all at once. And I'm just like, but whatever. You can't win. People are just wanting to just shovel everything in their face. And I mean, when that's what you're trained to do, because I mean they are just shoveling stuff at us. Still, I feel like I keep waiting for this bubble to burst on this constant. I feel like it's coming. So I'm hoping that pretty soon they'll start slowing down production on a billion different things and start maybe focusing, making things a little bit, I don't know. How many shows do you like that get canceled after a season on streaming now? It's basically a coin flip. So,
oh yeah. No, I in fact, there's a lot of stuff where it's like I won't. It makes me not want to invest in a show that I'm iffy about because of that. Though, because of their metrics, that's going to make the show more likely to be canceled at that point, also. So it's just the thing is we're reaching that Ouroboros stage of entertainment / capitalism / business where it's like everything is moving so fast and yet slow. Again, hey, here's your big master series. You get 8 episodes, and then you got to wait 2 years in between seasons, sometimes 3, and that's becoming the way that it is. And so they just take those episodes, instead of stretching it out and keeping your interest peaked in the conversation talk, they just shove it down your throat and move on to the next. And eventually you're not going to be able to generate enough shows to satiate that desire you set up in your audience.
Yeah. but it was still in the end it was still a really fantastic season. If like again, our lives are, at least my life is so busy that it's like the show comes out, it just gets absorbed into the week.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm already like going, what happened in this episode? Oh yeah, what happened? Like I've got so many things going on that it's just like, if for me and probably a lot of other people, just being able to make time to do it, is hard enough. But like everything else, time marches on, and there'll be a new way to watch something, or have it just shot into our brains, whatever. We can access it now. Like
that's right. We got the set script, and then you dream your participation in the rest of it. It's a choose your own adventure.
Like if I said, "Oh, you haven't watched Vox Machina yet," and you go, "Wait, 1 second." Okay, I have. All right, let's talk.
Oh, it hurts me just to think about that.
Like, like Neo suddenly opening, being like, "I know Kung Fu," like, yep.
Yeah, but to me, this feels more like Recall.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm just remembering I remembered I had this vacation, but it only took me 5 minutes and I was gone for weeks. It's like, yeah.
So Penguin episode 5. Here's the thing, this is going to probably be the one that turns into the Chris Farley show, because I mean, there's really not too much to go into philosophically about this episode. I think this is more of the like the thumbnail I made, let the bodies hit the floor, because it just starts becoming just boom, boom, boom. People are getting taken out again. Like, one of the benefits of a short series, if it's done right, is everything happens in these like great beats, and this is that beat. Time to take care of business before we move on to the next beat. And this is the beat where everybody dies.
Right.
Just about. I thought everybody was going to go, but especially since we didn't know anything for a while. But when you don't see somebody die, they're probably coming back. So what do you think of this week's Penguin episode? Because again, this was just great.
Well, I mean, again, it's interesting you put it that way, because it's like, I loved it. It was great. Not a whole lot happened. I mean, a lot did, but it feels like just those machinations of, okay, this is the part where you got to see everybody doing move, counter move, fall, pick up. And we're just going to make nice beady scenes out of it. And I think it does some nice little setups too. I mean, obviously we put Sophia, who has just put herself on display of who she is and what she wants. And she has no fear of that. And she is making big swings and, hitting home runs with those first couple of them. I find it interesting that both her and Oz are in a way doing the same thing. They're recruiting the base. Hey, you who were not appreciated before, I will appreciate you. Which is kind of like it's not just one new beginning with Oz. The whole mob, the whole gangster scene is being rebirthed and reborn and made anew, which was kind of cool. We got a big move by Oz. Sorry to say goodbye to Sheree, but if you're gonna go out, go out on fire, I guess. And I think we've got a good setup. While I didn't agree with what Victor did in going to Crown Point, part of me was like, are we going to Bloodhaven? I mean, get the fuck out of town, man. Don't just go to the bad part of town. I didn't agree with that. I get where they're going. I get why they do it, because we got to kind of stay in Gotham. And I think we're going to see we're setting up a Victor versus Squid encounter, which I think is going to have to be that big kind of switch, probably through next episode when they get really knocked down before they got to pull themselves back up. And he's got to kind of make a stand. So I'm really excited with where they're going. But this did feel like I'm just watching that meaty part of the chess game where everybody suddenly goes blam, 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 blam.
Yeah.
And then you pause again before you sit up to like, okay, now the big battle started. Now where all the tiny stuff going to go? So I thought it was a great episode in getting all of that accomplished. It just, to me, we had so much.
I mean, it does move too, especially near the end where, his next part of the plan at least is set up for the next thing where what he thinks about by going to Crown Point, what gives him that idea to like go looking around. Want to say hi to Bill and Deborah in the chat. Also, everybody, because I again was looking at the cigarette holder you had. We're wearing our penguin shirts we got this week. So yeah, we're penguin pals. And yeah, he got the cigarette holder that I was like, man, I used to have one when I would I used to dress up as Hunter S. Thompson for Halloween.
This is my Hunter Thompson cigarette extender. Yeah, I just had it like tucked away in a special place. So I was like, oh, I think I know where that is.
Yep. So we're here representing our penguin love tonight. So yeah, I thought that this was, again, there's a lot of cliches in here. Bringing up that squid thing though, as you're saying it, and I was thinking, why are they there? Well, it's to like for him to confront his past maybe. But now I'm thinking that's probably how Sophia finds where Oz's mom is.
Oh yeah, because she's got to go.
Squid's gonna lead them there, and then Victor will have his like attack on Squid, even though honestly Squid has barely done anything in this show. Like we just know he's one of the only weak characters on here because everybody's moved past this. It's just the fact that he's got to go back there and deal with the people that did survive. And of course, somebody like Squid lives. They was on the roof too. Otherwise, maybe he wouldn't have. But that is probably how that's going to go down. Again, like when we start reaching for trying to find out how things will happen, it's usually the simplest answer, Occam's razor kind of thing.
Well, and we get the hint from Oz too, and he's like, "You gotta look after my mom. She's what keeps me good."
Oh yeah, and that just like right there, like
she has to go for him to fully turn into who he is going to be. But it's also, you're thinking right now, like, this is you good.
Yeah,
I mean, we like you because you're kind of our monster, but you're still a fucking monster, and I'm not talking because of your leg.
And like Two-Face now, I feel like because of like that statement, however things go, I feel like because I'm gonna flip this coin, right? It's like Two-Face, whether or not 50-50 whether Victor lives, right? Because honestly, the way it's getting set up, I mean, again, it's a 50-50 thing. Either this is the Victor bites it in the end because he's hanging out with the devil, or it'll move on to Victor being like his big right-hand man. Either thing could happen to me. Just because of the volatile nature of Oz as it is. Like, if he's no longer good, whatever the good part of him dies, if he loses like his mom and maybe something else, I don't know. Like, I think there's a chance where he'd do something to Vic, maybe not even meaning to. But
it would be a great, okay, totally going off to side speculation just because it jumped to my mind. It would be a great eventual relationship between these two, assuming that Victor survives, is between the same one between Kingpin and his buddy who Paige shoots in season 1.
Oh, Wesley.
This would be that kind of great thing because you could see this where he would be Victor would be the reminder to Penguin of why he was doing things and that kind of connection to with his past, who would eventually probably be sacrificed. But that would be kind of an interesting end-up relationship between the two of those. I could see that going in this direction because, the the mom has to go. He has to be able to move that big step forward. And of course, Sophia and the Maronis have to have their big victory before Penguin can really step up. We know how these arcs go. There's 3 episodes left. A lot of stuff to happen.
Well, the first victim is like right at the beginning of the episode with the car. The car is the first one to die in this episode. And always with the story, there's always another story about some guy. This one being Rex Calabrese, the guy, and it's a theme of this, of like the people that he looked up to, the people that felt like, you know, they took care of the neighborhood, and you know, they might have had to do certain things from time to time, but they were respected. And you know, he's basically trying to get back to like a Godfather kind of days of like, you know, and I think he kind of sees himself as like this, like kind of the Arkham City guy with the just kind of out there, like, you know, I'm a man of the people, when he's just clearly gone. His idea of being a man of the people just doesn't line up with reality. But I liked they're having this whole conversation while his car is exploding behind him, and we get Victor being all in. We talked about this, that he needed to step up and be more competent, and now he's just in. Like, there's no. It was shown to me when he went after the kid that they took right at the beginning, like right out in the open. He was on him, like there was no hesitation. He wasn't conflicted. He knew what to do. That kid was like, what? And he might have been some AJ Soprano motherfucker, but he still like got on him and kept him from getting away. That's not a good thing, but I mean, for the character progression, it's a good thing. He needed to become more competent. Otherwise, it wouldn't be believable that Oz would keep him around just because, you know, occasionally he's the only one, I guess, the only one that's still around.
Well, and they've got, you know, this is their bonding moment and all of that. He thought, you know, Oz thought he was dead. He comes back. He admits to him, hey, this is an opportunity. I see that now. And Oz is like, yeah, and you came back and look what we did. And now we're on top and it's awesome. You know, that's what, like, this really would be a great pair going forward, you know, assuming they both survive.
I'd already like to say a moratorium already on the phrase, let's fucking go. I didn't think I'd get tired of it that fast, but I'm done. I'm over it already. You guys killed it. The movie, let's see, Deadpool Wolverine came out July 26th. I remember because it's my birthday. So July 26th, 2024, the death of the beginning of the death. Okay, I mean, I loved that phrase, but once they said it here, and it didn't wash over me like in the same way that it's done. Like they even are doing it on Critical Role. Man, and I'm guilty of it too. We've been saying it during Baldur's Gate 3 co-op, where like something will happen and be like, let's fucking go. Yeah. And as soon as Victor said it, I was like, oh, that was it. But maybe it'll swing back around if we take a beat and then you use it again. Let's use it sparingly, because that's a good phrase, man.
Yeah.
That's a good phrase. I just don't want it to become the next thing that we used to say.
I got burned out on the "we got company" for a while, because it was like, damn, every other action movie was like, we got company, we got company. I was like, oh fuck, man, I'm doing a supercut in my head.
Okay, Oz's guys, right? They're always just coming out of like the 18 van or whatever, and are these guys like low key, like crazy badasses? Because they see like every job like seems to be like they just show up and all of a sudden it's just like there and things get done. It's weird. I don't know anything about these guys, but
I think they sort of imply that these are like his guys in the warehouse that do the drops and the distribution. Yeah. So they're kind of like his little corner of the Falcone family.
Oh, yeah. Okay. All right.
You know, that's
Yeah,
why.
okay, and he's like the impressed, like the driver, like okay, yeah. So I really like the idea of like there's these guys like that are all like the made men and everything, and then you got these low level guys who just show up like in like the way that they always portray mobsters, right? We always see the glitz and the glamour, and it wasn't until like around good like well for me anyway, it wasn't until around Goodfellas where I started seeing films show these street level guys that are always just running to earn, to earn, to earn. The
Mhm.
guys who can't stop and just to get to wherever they want to go. And most of them, they're the like Sophia says, you know, you're the cannon fodder, the expendable. Nobody cares about you. I mean, I guess there is a theme in this episode, and it would be kind of that because also with the Crown Point stuff, talking about, you know, it's all cursed and that's, you know, nothing good's there. People, you know, the city kills you there. Like, I think a lot of those people were brought up in this episode of the people like looked down on, and some of them are now getting like praise, like we're going to treat you right. You know, you're not forgotten, while other people are completely forgotten. Um, but let's see, moving on to
Well, I mean, let me just say that's where we take the same point is they're both grabbing at the same base level people. And in that way, you're right, because we're looking at that class struggle now. Is, you know, there was the heads of the family and all their people, all their dons, all the lieutenants, all that, those were all the made men, which, you know, from Goodfellas knowledge, you know, you have to be able to trace your lineage back to Sicily and, you know, do all that type of thing. So all these guys that work for the mob, that do all the work, that do all the thing, that strive to come up, they're all ceilinged effectively.
yeah,
They're only going to get so far no matter what they do. Oz, in a way, being like, in his own way, the king of that type of group. Like, look, I'm not made, but look what all these things that I have. I got to run this stuff. I get to run you guys.
and it's not
So,
all Italian. You know,
exactly.
it's a but it seems to be kind of localized because like you know the Yakuza type gangs don't let in like Trevor. You know, like
No, there is
you
no
know,
Trevor in the Yakuza. You
you know,
can
like
be sure of that.
other gangs are much more you know, like they keep it within their race.
Sure. And I think
But
that's Oz's bit because he works the street and all those people. He's,
yeah,
again,
it's
he
a
wants to
hodgepodge
be
of
like
potpourri.
Rex there. He
Yeah.
wants to be the big gangster guy, so he's going to treat his people with respect, so they treat him. So yeah, we're basically seeing this is his chosen group of people that have a more of a loyalty to him. They work under him more than they work under the Falcons.
I like how they just took the guy right in broad daylight after he's on TikTok, telling everybody where he is. Like, and the thing is like that's believable.
Oh yeah.
It, you know, like people like
And
there's
anyone with noise canceling headsets know you aren't going to hear shit around going on around you. So yeah, that was hilarious.
and it tracks with the celebrity that isn't famous for anything but having a famous name and thinking that that's you know of course you know like of course regular celebrities they get treated better but they don't get treated like how mafia gets treated better. So it's just like this kid doesn't he lives in both of those worlds. It doesn't realize that it can touch him, and in this time it does. um this is there okay. Oh, when she says there's a code, I wanted to start laughing. Like the codes that they use in these like mafia movies and shows about like we don't do this and we don't do that. Kind of like how Johnny Viti's like couldn't believe she's like, who would kill their own family, right? And it's like, dude, you were going to.
Yeah.
Is it you know like I know he said it you know who kills their whole family, so I mean I guess if she had just said, well, is it all right if I just killed some of them, because you know he's fine with it. But
It's not a
this was
coup, it's a
also the
corporate
scene where
restructuring.
Oz like goes out and we have the stabbing scene. I don't know if you were like it was like I mean it's so weird, and I'm just saying it again because you do remind me. We've talked about this. the Clancy Brown of the group here, and so like
Oh, I'll take that any day.
whenever I see him in there, I'm almost picturing you in scenes. So like somebody starts attacking you with a knife, I'm like, what the fuck is happening? Like, whereas they're like, don't hit D. What did he do to you? But yeah, no body, no death, but
they, but they set it up nicely, and I know we'll jump back to talk about with his wife and son's death.
Yeah, but also, I mean, this is a huge body count because this is the episode. Like Oz doesn't find out until after he's leaving that she's killed everybody. So I like that there's a nice long beat in this show before he finds this out. The only thing I had a question about was like the timeline of this. Because the crash, he gets his guys at the crash. Then the next day, he's at the prison when he finds out about the Falcones all being dead. After the crash, she goes down the alley. Julian comes and rescues her. It's nighttime. So she still went home to a late night dinner with the whole family and then killed him the same night of the crash?
No, we got to assume a day went on and they just, insert that or skip that.
Okay. Okay. It was just a question I had because I was like, man, things are happening a little too fast.
Yeah, but you're right. I do love that it does take a moment for people in universe to get and hear what happens. So they've got their own plans going on. Other person does their plans. Now I got to adjust my plan with this new plan thing in order to move forward.
And I dig that. And first off, the guy who plays the cop, who's talking to Sophia, Con O'Neill, who's a character actor from Forever. But that voice, man, like they found, like he's been in a lot, but he's almost unrecognizable here, at least to like people with the character actor eyes can spot him. But this guy, like the way he plays this cop is just so freaking great. I love these kind of grizzled cops who are trying to like act like they're not corrupt, but they're totally corrupt. They're just going through the motions. They totally know that she killed them all, but they can't prove it. They can't do anything about it. Just because in any other universe, this girl's getting like at least taken away for questioning to find out what happened to him, but she just gets to say, "Nah, this is what happened. I went outside, fell asleep with the daughter, woke up, they're all dead." And Johnny
Let me
V,
remind you, I know my position of power and the just moves that I can make and what you're going to need to do. So, yeah, I mean, that was... And do I need to send something to cup up with all of the bribe money that you wouldn't be getting also? Is that... Just want to be clear? No, she is murdering. She is murdering Sophia, man. This is such a layered performance. Really a freaking just a blast to watch her in every scene.
And she keeps finding more to do. So in this episode, she's like seeing, finding out about, well, maybe not finding out, but remembering about the whole thing that she's her mother's side of things. It's the one thing that I think Johnny Vitti really kind of like reminded her of. Well, yes, I was happy to see that, like, to me at the end of last episode, she was keeping him alive, mostly to do what happens later in the episode, which is to bring people to the table. But I also like that immediately she did not, it wasn't like nice or anything. It's not like get dressed and we're going down and getting this done. No, she wants the money. She wants everything else. She's torturing this guy, the water, the ice bucket challenge or whatever she does to him. I was so glad to not see this character just get a pass and then really not get a pass.
Sure.
I mean, because for a second I was a little bothered by the whole like confession of all my guilt for introducing your mother to your father, and I was going to get her out, and she kept coming back. And it's a this kind of thing happens every day to regular people. And he's just telling a story that happens to be in a mafia family. How lots of people need to leave abusive relationships and just can't do it.
Sure.
And it's wonderfully told. And I think there's there's truth in what he's saying. These events happened. I'm not sure I ever believed that too many of the motivations behind why he's telling her, other than I don't want to die in this moment, thinking that this will save him. And when she allows him to keep going, for a second, I was like, oh, well, okay, he's going to give her the in, and Johnny Viti's just going to be a part of this show for the rest of whatever. And Julian coming in, which I'm just, okay.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you what you thought about Julian's whole thing
what is
here.
this character? Like, I don't know anymore. I thought he was like the stand-in for Hugo Strange, but now he's just a weirdo who wants to like be in her presence to feel the Dexter kill release. Like, because he said, I can see what it has done to you, what you did, the release. She murdered a bunch of people and she feels good about it, and he wants to feel that. So to me, he's just kind of a weird hanger on of seeing somebody else's, like, I want to be a part of this. Why? What it? Oh,
well, and I honestly don't even really trust that.
Yeah.
To me, I think, I don't know. I think he's got his own game now, whether he's just, cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs for, maybe one thing, or if he's going to try and swerve to take control and then she's going to crush him or whatever, or he is going to try and do some like, Hugo Strange thing. I don't know, because him just coming back going, I like the way that you killed that. Can I hang around with you? That'd be cool. I don't know.
Bill says, he's getting the impression that he's in love with her, but I don't know. It's a weird kind of, it's a weirdly written character, performed understated, a real understated performance. I think that's also kind of weird in a series of big personalities. He's so understated.
Yeah.
Maybe that's on purpose.
That's the choice you see everybody's, zooming, you got to zig, if you want to do something different, you gotta, I don't know.
So he wants to be a part of it. We get the next big scene coming in with the big fur coat and the Gigante in there and the speech, and it's great. And then it just like, as soon as she says like, we're a new family, the Falcone name is dead, he starts opening his mouth, and I'm like, well, he's just kind of surprised right now that this isn't what they quite discussed. And instead of just even thinking about it, even giving him a chance to know what's happening, it's just boom. I loved it. I mean, I just, he's already done. His usefulness is over. He brought you to the table, which he kissed him on the head when he's like, you're the last. It was just like, oh yeah, okay, this guy's done. And he just does. It's just a matter of when she's gonna do it. Right now. Okay, right now.
Yeah. Well, she only needed him, for a couple of things. I need to know where the money is, and I need you to bring all these people together and set this up so it looks legitimate. And that's the extent of your usefulness, outside of killing you to show that you're an asshole who would do the same thing to me in a heartbeat, and told me so to my face like 2 days ago.
I wrote down a lot of stuff, man. Oz's mom. I mean, it's hard to play mentally ill And it's even probably harder to do it without looking too like you're playing it up, like you're like what's the word I'm looking for? I mean, I don't want to say
Without leaning
mocking.
into melodrama. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and she's really riding a tight wire rope up there because she really knows how to be so quick at the turn of I don't know what's going on. I absolutely know what's going on. Like from like when he starts to stutter, she snaps right out of it, and she's like, and goes right to negative. She's so much more pleasant when she's delusional, which is like usually when people are more dangerous, and maybe she's more dangerous to herself as when she's delusional because she doesn't really know what's going on. She confuses things, but when she's lucid, she's mean.
Oh
She
yeah.
hits right to the core. She's calling you names. She almost seems like she wants trouble to find her or you. Um,
She seems like the type of person who is playing with her delusion to fuck with you. Even though, like you said, when she was all showing the map and thing, and like, yeah, I know who you are. Why are they sending? Why is my kid sending you instead of coming to himself? He doesn't care. It's kind of like, was that all a sucker in that whole little play moment there?
right?
And I think that's it. Kind of like you said about Julian, I think what works for her is she does everything very understated. So all those twists, all those change, all that stuff, you're not seeing some big action and low or whatever. It's all an internal switch being thrown.
And it when you see performances like that we are getting in this, and I just want to bring up just again that means that writer, director, actor are all like the script and everything is all so like when we say how good this show is, it's not just good for a comic book show. It's structured so well. Everybody's working so well together that you wouldn't if there's anything going on behind the scenes that's like crazy, you wouldn't know it, you wouldn't feel it. This show is just this is how you make a good show out of something like this.
Well, there is nothing comic book about this show.
No.
I mean, outside of the guy being called Penguin.
Yeah.
That's it. It is a straight gangster show, which is why it's great on HBO. They know how to do that. They have a pedigree of it.
I'm gonna say something that'll probably not be liked by some people or agreed with, but the Nolan films wanted to be super grounded. And it's to the detriment of the DC universe that they kept doing it for as long as they did. This whole we're serious. But this feels more grounded than that and more believable than Nolan's. And I mean the world. I felt like I didn't really feel that Gotham was Gotham as much as I do in this.
Well, they forgot that this is a mythology.
Yeah.
And that you have to, how do you find groundedness in a fantastical world? Yeah. For them, it was like, put on the pads and the boots and the armor and stuff like this, and this makes it real.
Yeah.
Whereas with something like this, you realize all that the main ingredient that you need is for the characters to believe they are in a real world, despite its fantasticalness, that this is just the world. And that's grounds it for us. And too often you can see they're playing, they're joking, they're doing a thing for all of this. This world is 100% real. If they have done anything, they have established a world that is 100% real, even if a bat is going to fly across the screen at some point. And that will look as crazy as it probably should look in a mythology of like, what the hell is that?
Yeah. I mean, just it's so cool. Like, I just want to say it now again. Like, this is what's such a joy. Like, when I find the most joy on YouTube or whatever is like when we can find this kind of stuff to talk about in these kind of shows that makes me still excited to talk about shows like this, where I keep thinking, I'm going to run out of things to talk about when all these comic book shows that we talk about. And just these conversations just are so awesome that I love. This is why we need to embrace this high quality stuff and just ignore the crap, man, because I love talking about this show so much.
Well, and I think it's a lesson even for the studios to learn to be like, look, not everything has to be all the same. Even in the same world, you're going to have light and dark sections of that world. So allow yourself a breath to go, yes, we want to make a 4-quadrant film. And then we want to make something. Look, an R-rated movie just made over $1 billion. Okay. That's usually said you can't do that because you restrict your audience too much. You can make different tones in your shows and go for different audiences, maybe bring in people that you wouldn't expect or build, better relationships with the ones that you have. I think that's what DC is doing a good job representing that Marvel could certainly learn a lesson from.
Yep. At least right now. So we only got a couple of things left to talk about. And the one is the whole burn baby burn scene. Wow. I mean, it does. What I love is how it ends. And it's just like this all ends tragically for everyone. It's one of the only times you actually see Oz be like, no, 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 no. And it might have just been because, he's seeing an opportunity literally dry up and die. But just, he knows what he's going to do when he goes there. He's going to go through all the perfectly polite motions before he makes his move. And yet, after doing all this horrific stuff, at the end of the day, he doesn't have anything again, just about. And all, it wouldn't have saved those people's lives, but it's just that, that's life. You think you think you're getting everything's free and clear. You gotta wait. You soaked this kid in gasoline, which I don't know. Was that it had to be gasoline, right?
All I'm saying is, even when he came out all wet, I'm like, well, that can't be gas because you would totally smell that, or a kerosene or whatever. So it's some flammable but non-odorous liquid.
Yeah, I mean, I could probably make a joke here about any insert liquid product that shouldn't be flammable that's flammable here. But I don't have one.
He was doused in hand sanitizer, folks.
Yeah, don't.
Vodka. Yeah, it could be very high proof vodka.
Let's not start a trend here where people start trying to. So let's see if it works.
Yeah, no. No experiments here. We're not that.
Bill says vodka.
I mean that would, but again, that much vodka is going to be like.
Look, I used to
reeks,
drink,
and there wasn't a reaction like, "Oh my God, what's he covered with?" I thought there would be some kind of thing, but
the lie is kind of like it's odor. Okay, it's odorless, but it's not completely odorless. And you drink enough of it, you're gonna smell vodka on somebody. Okay.
Oh yeah, no.
And if you dump it on them,
vodka is odorless is what alcoholics think.
Yep. And trust me, that's what I thought for a while.
Yeah.
But just it was a little undignified, way for Avasarala. I'm back to calling her that.
Yeah, I know. It's easier.
I don't have my notes in front of me to remind myself how to say it. But wow, both just up in the smoke. And then the double cross too. They were all caught in the crossfire. She wasn't letting them get away. So, I mean, in a way, she kind of almost. Wait, would he have let him go?
No, that was his plan.
Yeah,
she was just sloppy.
Soaked.
She was just sloppy and having her guys come out.
Yeah. He was already soaked. He was going to go. And then finding out that there's only 2 shrooms left, which leads us to, Victor going to Crown Point and Squid seeing them go inside and him telling he did a good job. And he gets into another story, which leads him to the trolley coin. and leads us to the tunnels underneath Gotham, which to me was like complete Arkham City reference. Also, they brought up Penguin's brothers again.
Yeah.
I remember Cape Crusader called them Jack and Benny.
Jack and Benny.
Jack and Benny were back in story only. So now I'm wondering, I guess Jack and Benny must be in the Batman lore, and I just don't know all of the
I don't know.
Penguin
To me, it's just a Jack Benny reference, but you know.
I mean, well, it had to, okay, that's why it has to be a real thing, is that whoever wrote Batman back in the day and created those two characters had to have been like, let's call them Jack and Benny. We do it too. You know, it's just.
Oh, what in House of the Dragon? There's actually characters that are all named after Muppets. One of the families, it's Oscar, Bert, and Ernie, or something like that. And I think they changed one of them for what. So yeah, you have like, look, okay, writers. They're just like, man, I'm gonna do this. This is my own little fun joke for me. I'm a fucking writer. Wow. I can do that.
All right. Well, that leads us to what I feel is like the Arkham City arc. Like they're underneath Gotham. They're going through the tunnels, and it really like that. There's that section of Arkham City where you go down into this old subway tunnel.
Oh, it looks very much like that.
And I'm just like, and he's like, we found our new base of operations. I'm like, hell yeah, you did. And I love this because they're opening up Gotham even more, which is the underground and crap. And where Batman, like, depending on which way they want to go, like how, Batman has tunnels under Gotham, and who else is down there? I don't know. And I don't want this to turn into a rogues gallery show where all of a sudden people are coming out like, hey, this is our tunnel or something like that. But just the more that they expand on this world is making me more interested in future Batman movies than I was before. Because remember, I said I prefer this to the actual Batman. But when I see what they're doing with at least that, I don't know if Gunn's in charge of all this, right? I would like for him to keep, like, he can make separate Batman universes for all I care. If they want to keep incubating this one and keep spreading it out, I would love that quite a bit.
Well, yeah, Matt Reeves is producing, and I think this is going to lead directly into the next Batman movie. So, this is an effective bridge. They did set up that, Robert Pattinson Batman, his Batcave is like in an old subway station, and he uses the trainways to get in and out. So the fact that there are now others that are like, yeah, this is an old system that can get around, you get some interesting designs and conflicts and potential set pieces going on, with that. But what I really loved is kind of the arc that they put Penguin through, because he goes through his highs and his lows. He starts out, he survived. He's confident. He goes, he takes the Maroni boy. He throws it down in front of Saul. He's strong. He's powerful. He's making his position. He's making his set known. They do their back and forth, and he wins in that. And you see him with that sadistic grin when they're burning on fire.
Oh, yeah. I'm on it. That's what I see comic book Penguin a little bit, where I'm just like that big grin and there, like.
But then, like you said, immediately, we left the mushrooms uncovered. They're super stable. Oh no, now we got this thing. And so suddenly he is now, from his top moment down to his bottom. His product is gone. He's got barely anything. He's got to run away back to Crown Point, where he's from, where his mom hates having to go back to, shows up where she used to be, to the point where even his attempt to get comfort and show that I kept you safe, I know it's bad, she pushes him away. How you can't even take care of your mom. That meanness at his lowest point, she pushes him down even further. Down underground. You're right. So then he finds the one stuff from his past. Hey, speaking of underground, I'm feeling pretty low. This is where we used to play. The old place. And then, oh my God, a perfect, moist, dark place to raise mushrooms. It takes him from his highest point to his lowest point to that step back up. And you're right. Now it's like, this is going to be Penguin's territory. Crown Point and all the tunnels that connect to the rest of it, that's Penguin's. Penguin's not an underground creature, but for some reason, it's swimming underneath the channels and getting to places, doing the penguin thing. I mean, I love this for Stasis, and I also love the potential that we maybe not have to kill Sophia. I mean, yeah, and Saul. I mean, I feel like they kind of got to go for Penguin to win. On the other hand, man, that'd be a nice dynamic to just still have around. I don't know. It's gonna get bad, but But you're right. I love the whole Arkham feel that this sort of sets up.
And like you said, he's at the bottom, but even though he found himself at the bottom, he already has plans to get back up, and the streaming business. And if you've seen the trailer, what I like and what I've had to get used to was that in these episodes, and there are episodes, again, this is how you make actual TV shows, they really take you on a journey that you didn't know that they could make in an hour.
Oh yeah. This is so dense with story.
And it's just unbelievable. Like, I can't believe how much is packed in there, and doesn't feel like, well, what do I take out of this? Like, I'd like to see what they left that they had to take out, because everything in here is just so necessary. And I don't know. Again, it's just the best thing on TV, and I people know, and I talk about this all the time, that I really don't like talking about a lot. Like, I'm not as interested in talking about new things, and then shows like this come around and remind me why, every once in a while there's these kind of shows that make me want to like talk about them nonstop for a while. And that's again why I would like to see more streaming services do things on a weekly basis. We'd beaten this drum to death over the whole, it's free to have all this hype every week. Remember when hype used to last because something stayed around? I mean, even like House of the Dragon, 8 weeks over, like it's not even 10 now, like it used to be, but whatever.
Yeah. Well, no, and also because you're like, well, even if that was also for 2 seasons in a row, they went, okay, and we're going, and stop. Okay, so the next one starts, and we're getting ready to go. It's about to start, and now wait another 2 years for the next season because it'll start then. Maybe.
The only thing I got left is the fact that I love that they played A Forest by The Cure at the end when they're in the tunnels. Huge Cure fan, so anytime I get to hear them in something and it fits the scene and it's given that, like, because whenever they use music in this, man, there's usually a good, like, a vibe that you're supposed to get from it. And I just dug it. So just like everything else in this show, and there's no reason to think it's going to stop. We got 3 episodes left. So 3 more weeks. It's going to be well into November, a couple of weeks into November before this is over. And I can't wait to get to the end of this. And
I know, it's like, I don't want it to come, but I can't wait for it to come quick enough also. I mean, the fact that I really want to binge this show, but I'm happy I can't, is, I think, the perfect way you want to structure these things. You get a few of these up per year, man, once a quarter or something like this, 4 shows of this type of quality, man, people would be eating out of their palm for a streaming service. You could stretch this all out, keep everybody subscribed. I don't know.
Yeah, I wouldn't think about dropping stuff if you guys had this kind of quality that's, I know, coming right after it. Like, if you had like 4 or 5 shows a year, like HBO used to do anyway. It used to be the channel to watch religiously every Sunday night. They crank out Sopranos is over. Here comes 6 Feet Under. 6 Feet Under is over. Time for True Blood. Whatever. The Wire. Yada yada yada. I love that I bring up the Cure, and that finally brings Rena into the chat. I got you to come out.
Well, it's worth, and and they leave it on even a little bit of a joke this week too, with the generator sputtering out. I mean, I gotta assume somebody else put the generator, and that's not the same one that he left down there full of gas when he was a kid, because movie gas lasts forever. Real life gas does not.
Oh yeah, I'm sure I don't know, maybe Daryl's running on a grain and alcohol or something in his motorcycle or something now when he's in France. I don't know, maybe they've got a new engine on there that runs on water or something. I don't know. I don't watch it, so I don't know.
Yeah, but I love that it's sputtered out there. The music's like, okay, we're on top.
Because that's the whole thing. Up, down, up, down. And you know he's gonna figure it out.
Yeah, minor inconvenience at that point.
So anyway, I don't know. I've got nothing left, I don't think.
No, I think that covered it all. Again, it was like it was a great episode. A lot happened, but there's been so much heavy meat in this. This was like, this was like the working class episode, but still of an amazing quality. That's the one thing. We were 5 episodes in, not even a hint of filler scenes, let alone episodes or anything like that. Yeah, no, they're I guess I'm just gooing over their show, so there's no reason to keep doing that. It's amazing. I really like it. I really wish there was more. I don't know if they're going to end up doing a season 2. We'll have to see where they go and where they want to end things up. But if they wanted to do another Gotham series with somebody else and Matt Reeves and the same team wants to continue on with that, I would be intrigued to see where else they could go in this world. But
I when I see this universe that he's able to expand out into, it's a shame that the production would kill this show if they tried to do this with Planet of the Apes. They would not be able to do this like as a show. They wouldn't be able to do that as a show just because of how much it would cost. It wouldn't.
Oh yeah, you got to CGI all of your characters.
But it makes me go, man, I really wish they could now. Matt Reeves is another really great person out there making really quality stuff out of things I didn't think I'd give a crap about. Even Batman. Like we've run the gamut of all kinds of Batmans between, Burton and Schumacher and Nolan, and there's been so many different takes. But anyway.
Well, but in some ways that's also encouraging because it just tells you like, hey, does this Batman not work for you? Give it us a couple of years. There'll be another one, and maybe that one's going to be more to your liking. I honestly love the fact that we're going to have this Batman and this world because I like this world, but I'm also excited to see, but I want to see a Batman that fights the bigger things and does the bigger stuff. Again, the more fantastical Batman that would be up against Mr. Freeze, that could have a Justice League adventure because that's a different looking world. And I would like to see that as well as this world, again, as long as they take their world seriously and do it well. And I don't know, man, Gunn has a pretty good track record of doing that. So I'm kind of tentatively excited about what DC is going to bring to the table.
Yep, it's an exciting time over at DC, I got to admit. And I'm happy about that. I hope Gunn can do a lot better than what they were doing before.
Yeah, totally.
So what do you got going on right now? Anything for everybody?
I'm doing reviews of The Penguin every Thursday night at 6 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Central, right here on Smirk and Gun Reviews.
All right.
That's about it right now.
Oh, really? Well, as everybody, I said at the beginning, I got to edit my newest video for Fantastic Mr. Fox. I know that's a weird probably statement or a weird choice to come out of my mouth, but
it's a great movie.
It's a great movie. I had a lot to say, and I'm in the editing room over that editing room. I'm at my computer, which is my editing room. taking care of that. I'm going to be reading Absolute Batman #1 pretty soon. If there's something there that I need to say anything about, I probably will say something about Absolute Batman #1. So maybe that's coming. And then, well, if I can, if it's still on YouTube, I got one more video to make for somebody, and hopefully I'll be able to make that within the next, record it at least within the next week. And then I don't know what else. We're still doing this every. We're still doing this. We're doing this every Thursday night, 8 p.m. Central, 6 p.m. Pacific. Darren, thanks again for being here. We're Penguin Pals.
Yeah.
For life.
Gonna have to find a monocle.
Have a good night, everybody. And I'll see you in the
Thanks,
next
everyone.
video.
See you next
Don't
week.
forget to hit like and subscribe because I never tell anybody to do that ever. Bye.
And hit the bell.